push-ups, right?
Right.
But does anybody know like the actual chemistry of how a muscle grows? Yeah, Luciano?
When you work out, the muscle stretches out, and since it's in a weaved pattern, when it stretches out, there's gaps in it. So,
It breaks, right? Like
yeah.
some of the muscle strands break when you work out.
When you eat protein, the protein fills in those gaps and you have bigger muscles.
And then it gets a longer strand, and that's how you get big muscles. So in order to...
Muscles like these? Is that what you mean?
Look at those guys. So in order to build muscle, and I'd like you to think about this as a metaphor for learning while I say this. In order to build muscle, you need to break the strands in order to get bigger. So I'm going to simplify it. In order to build muscle, you need to stretch and hurt a little bit in order to build and get stronger. So how can that be a metaphor? And a metaphor is something similar to. How is that a metaphor for learning? Yeah, is that a...
No pain, no gain.
Oh, I like that phrase, no pain, no gain. What else? Yes, Declan?
It's kind of like if you don't give up some stuff and trust that you'll get more if you play your cards right, then you're never gonna get more. If you play it safe your whole life, you won't get anywhere.
Effort and putting in the reps. Like Ben, in order to get those big guns, you gotta put in lots of reps, right? You gotta do it kind of every day, you gotta do the reps. Sometimes it's kind of boring. Sometimes it hurts because you're breaking muscles. But over the long run, you're gonna get somewhere. Effort is essential. Some of you at your old schools, and by the way, you come from 25 different schools. Okay, so you come from a lot of different schools. Sometimes, in some of your old schools, maybe you were the kid who everything was easy and you got good grades and you didn't have to work very hard. Some of you at your old schools, you had to work real hard. Maybe your grades weren't the highest, but you put in tons of effort. There's all different boys here, and that's on purpose. But we believe that all of you are equal, and all of you, if you put in effort, you're going to go somewhere. You're going to build that brain. Now, brains aren't muscles, and they don't work exactly like that tearing, but they build pathways in your brain if you work real hard. If you take risks, if you make mistakes. Mistakes are even more important than getting it right the first time sometimes in your brain. Since you are coming from so many different schools, you all have different habits from your old schools. Like, some of you maybe used to play games at your old school where on the playground where putting down another student might have been okay. Like teachers may have been okay with it. Some of you might have been at schools where it wasn't okay. Some of you might have been at schools where in the classroom you could kind of giggle when another classmate made a mistake at the board and get away with it. And some of you are at schools where you couldn't get away with that, where it was really important that you didn't giggle when somebody made a mistake. So you're all going to be learning this week about what is kind of okay at EBSB and what is kind of not okay at EBSB. But what's really essential that you all know is that you're all going to be growing as a community and as a brotherhood over these next 3 years. It's going to be awesome. It's also really important that because we're a community, that if somebody says something to you that doesn't feel okay, that you speak up for yourself, right? And remind them that here at EBSB it's not okay. Maybe at your old school it was okay, but here it's not. And you can even tell me. And I'll be really cool and I'll go to the other side and say, hey, by the way, I just want to remind you that here it's not okay to do that, okay? Right? Without any judgment, we're all learning how to be together. And as young men, and as a man, we have a real responsibility in this world to be good to each other and to not fall into those traps sometimes that we can as men, of like not communicating or making fun of each other or like trying to be the best and the boss man, all that. That's all for some other school. That's not for us. Cool?
Yeah.
Sweet. Yes, please. Thank you. I wrote up here some kind of mantras that we have at our school. Be good to each other. That's simple. Work hard and play hard. Probably kind of in that order. Right? I know. How cool. Well, sometimes here, work is going to feel a whole lot like play. That's the cool part. Mistakes are opportunities, of course, and high effort is totally essential. Your advisors are going to go over our honor code later, but it's about respecting yourself, it's about respecting others, it's about respecting our gear, like each other's gears, like you guys won't go in each other's backpacks, for instance, unless somebody tells you to go get something from it. Respect communication, like we really care about talking to each other in good ways, and respect our learning and each other's learning. I can tell this is going to be a really good year. Thank you for being so attentive so far. We're going to do just 30 seconds of silence. It's very common that we do this at EBSB. And you'll tell when we're going to start by me kind of just putting my head down a little bit like this. You're welcome to close your eyes. You're welcome to just, I call it a soft stare, kind of stare out into space, like you're not really looking at something. It's kind of fuzzy in the distance, but you're just kind of staring off because you're really looking on the inside. That sounded weird, didn't it? Oh yeah. And while we're together in this circle, could you just take your caps off? Later on you can run. When we're done, okay? Great. So if everybody can just get into your own space so that you can do a little bit of silence, that'd be awesome.